Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week. These are the horoscopes for the week ending September 3rd, 2016. We're already moving into September, if you can believe that. And also this week kicks off our full Virgo Mercury retrograde on Tuesday. So things seem to get a little bit crazy. That's probably what is behind all the craziness. So expect some miscommunications for the next few weeks. Expect some difficulties with some of your communication devices, your phones, your computers, different machinery, your cars, and travel plans might get a little screwy too. So the best thing or the biggest advice that I can give you for this week to get through the Mercury retrograde madness is just to be prepared for the madness to come. As we're prepared for it, we give ourselves a little bit more time to get through it, and it's not going to eliminate all the frustration, but it will at least eliminate part of the frustration knowing that you're prepared for the madness. So make sure that you get yourself prepared. But we're going to get started with the horoscopes because we got a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to start as we always do with Aries. Now, Aries, you guys have had some, just some great stuff going on, but the beginning of this week is going to kick off with a little bit of a difficulty as Uranus in your sign is squared with the moon. And this particular aspect is going to make it feel like as you're trying to focus on different things that you want to focus on, it seems that other people's problems are getting in the way with that. Now, as a typical Aries, most of the time that doesn't stop you, but these are people that are really close to you. These are people that definitely you would be responsible for. And so, of course, it makes that decision on whether or not to focus on what you need and their needs a little bit more difficult for you guys. Now, the good news is this is only going to last one day, and then it's a temporary frustration, and then it moves on, and your schedule is all yours again. So the bottom line with this here is it may be a difficult decision on Sunday, but by Monday, you don't have to make that decision anymore. You can go back to focusing on what it is that you want to do. The real key to this lesson here is temporary frustrations are just that. They're temporary. Let the frustration stay in Sunday and don't let it follow you into the rest of the week. Because if it does follow you into the rest of the week, chances are you're not going to get as much done for the remainder of the week. So deal with it on Sunday, let it go on Monday on. Now, of course, when it comes to your schedule and there's a big focus on your schedule, you want to make sure that that focus on your schedule is all about what it is that you want to focus on right now. Seeing as how there's no actual anything for you to focus on in terms of Uranus's aspects with any other planets. So it's just basically all up to you. What is it that you want to focus on? You want to focus on some vacation plans? You want to focus on your career? You want to take some time just to focus on you. Whatever you want to do, just make sure that you put the proper amount of time of focus into it. Now, when I say the proper amount of time and focus into it, that means that when you are focused on what it is that you're doing, you keep your focus on that. And during the Mercury retrograde, that might be a little bit difficult for you, but you know how to bring your focus back to where it needs to be. So this week, a little bit of a difficulty at the beginning of the week. Things are going a little bit better for you for the rest of the week. Leave the temporary frustrations on that day and don't carry them on into the rest of the week, and keep an open mind because you never know what the Mercury retrograde is going to bring you. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, this week gives you a beautiful opportunity to incorporate those you love into your day-to-day schedule. And this is a really important thing for Tauruses, especially during a Mercury retrograde. Now, this Mercury retrograde is in Virgo, not in Taurus, but it is in an earth sign. And I have noticed that these Mercury retrogrades in earth signs have been really difficult ones for us, especially when it comes to trying to organize our time. Well, this week it's really important to make sure that your time is organized correctly, and incorporating these people that you love into that schedule is just as good for you as it is, of course, for them. Taking this time to spend the time with those that you love and taking your focus away from things that maybe you're doing on your own is a good thing. It's definitely a must for Tauruses because all of that time, spending time with those that you love, is something that really empowers you. It helps you grow, and it helps you feel like you're on top, so that when you're focusing on those things that don't have anything to do with them, you have this sense of, I can accomplish anything because you have all of this support backing you. Plus, on top of that, sometimes you just need a break, and you need a break doing something fun. And those that you love, of course, are the people that are the most fun as far as Tauruses are concerned. So this week, it's really time to have fun. Spend some time with those that you love. Make sure that you incorporate plenty of time into your schedule for them, because the truth is everything else that you're working on is going to be that much better knowing that they're a huge part of it and that they're there to back you up. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, spending some time planning your financial future may not be what you really want to do this week. And with the Mercury retrograde, your ruling planet being in retrograde on Tuesday, it might make it a little bit more difficult. Especially as Mercury being your ruling planet, you really feel these Mercury retrogrades very strongly. But this week, it really is time to take that time to plan your financial future. Now, whether it's saving for the future or saving for future things that you may need, or saving for retirement, or just, whatever it is, in terms of organizing your money, it's definitely something that whether you like to do it or not, everybody has to do. Otherwise, you don't have a very healthy financial plan or a financial future for that matter. Now, this week, even through the Mercury retrograde is helpful to you guys because it seems that everything else that you're trying to focus on isn't really working out for you. Or there's difficulties, or there's challenges, or there's communication breakdowns, or what have you. Now, this may seem like a frustration, but really what's happening is that Mercury is helping you out. It's clearing everything else out of the way so you can focus on this one thing and this one thing only. And there's plenty of people out there to help you out if you're not very good at financial planning. I'm not good at it at all. That's why I need to talk to somebody who knows about this stuff so that I can have somebody helping me out, and it allows me to be successful. And the big thing is that most air signs don't like to ask for help. So this is a perfect growth opportunity for you if you do need to ask for that help. And I highly advise it, because trust me, just because we don't know how to do something or we're uncomfortable with doing something does not mean it doesn't have to be done. Trust me on this. So this week, take some time to really look at that and come up with a plan if you don't have one. Because the truth is, later on down the road, if you don't have this plan in action, you're going to be sorry. And we don't want that to happen. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, making a financial plan for your goals is definitely a necessity. It may not be the number one thing that you want to do, but it's definitely important. Now, most of the time when people have goals or dreams and they take a look at what it takes in order to make that dream into a reality, money is always one of the tools that is needed in order to do that. And when you think about, not when you actually find out about how much money it's going to take, but when you think about how much money it's going to take in order to achieve this dream, what most people do is they stop right there. They look at that amount of money and they say, I'm never going to get it unless I win the lottery, so there's no point in me trying. Well, this week, it's time to change that around. Do something that you haven't done before. Actually make a plan. Now, you could, of course, start some of the steps of the process of working towards these goals as you make that financial plan. And you make a plan to save up the money that you need, and you create in your plan for your goals different due dates for saving this money and things like that, so that you can pay for the things that you need to pay for along the way. Bottom line here is that as you're taking the steps that you can take now, and you're putting aside the money to be able to build the capital for this adventure, you're actually actively working every single day towards this goal, instead of using the money as an excuse to stop yourself right there. And you definitely don't want to do that, because this dream is definitely worth making into a reality. So this week, add a financial plan to the success of your goals, because the truth is, as you create this plan, you're actually going to see that it doesn't take quite as much money as you think it does, number one. And number two, it also makes you feel like you can actually achieve these goals. And that kind of energy is only going to make you put more energy into it. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, a break in focus means a little bit of a mini vacation for you guys. And that's what it's all about this week for you Leos. Now, it doesn't mean that life is going to stop and that, of course, take time off of work if you want to and you can, but it doesn't mean that you have to take time off of work and completely separate yourself from your responsibilities. But at the same time, most Leos have their focus on many different things at once. Being a fire signs are very active and very energetic, and they're constantly thinking and going over different things that they want to do. This is what I'm talking about. It's time to take a break from all of that stuff. Does not mean that next week you can't come back to it, but by giving yourself a break from all of these different things that you focus on a regular basis and just scaling it down to the responsibilities you have to take care of this week, you're not only giving your physical body a break, but you're giving your brain a break too. And by doing this and taking a whole week to do this so that you have a little bit of rejuvenation time for your mind, body, and spirit, by the time you get back to it next week, you're going to have a clearer focus. You're not going to be as tired. You're not going to feel quite as heavy and as run down. And you're definitely going to have a much quicker brain to be able to focus on all of those things that you need to focus on. So this week, take my advice and take a break, because I'm telling you, once you do that, when you get back to your active and crazy life again, you will feel more empowered to be able to do that. And that really is what you need every so often. And those breaks, unfortunately or fortunately, are a really big part of that rejuvenation. So you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, happy birthday to all the Virgos born this week, especially two very special Virgos to me, and one of them being very special to Drummer Dave also, and that is our son Jonathan, who is turning 20 years old this week on the day that Mercury goes retrograde, no less. What a great kid. I just have to say, we are so blessed to have one of the best kids that ever walked the face of the planet. At 20 years old, he's got his head on straight, he's got his own place, he's got a job, he's supporting himself and his girl, he doesn't have any kids, he hasn't made us grandparents yet. I mean, I'm telling you, there's not enough wonderful things I can say about this kid. So Jonathan, I know I'm going to see you on your birthday because, of course, I'm going to make you some bacon wrapped chicken. But I just want to say, before your birthday, happy birthday, because if you're anything like your mom, you're already celebrating your birthday today on Sunday, 2 days before your birthday. Of course, I taught him well. And happy birthday to my favorite triple Virgo, Brock Burroughs. Not only is Brock awesome because he's a triple Virgo, self-proclaimed awesome, by the way, as a triple Virgo, but also he is the man responsible for HeavyMetalPsychic.com. He's totally building the website for me because he's amazing. And he's a host, along with myself, on ParamaniaRadio.com. He does the Haunted Chronicles right after Heavy Metal Psychic on Friday nights, as well as co-hosting Tech Time with Brock and Doc on Sunday nights. And you, of course, can find the schedule for these shows by going to www.paramaniaradio.com, clicking the schedule button, and of course you can see when these shows are coming on. Happy birthday, Brock. I'll be seeing you on Friday on your actual birthday, because of course we'll be doing shows that night, or at least I will. I don't know what you're doing, but I know I'll be doing a show that night, and I'll definitely be throwing a shout out to you. Now, as for everybody else who's Virgo this week, Mercury is going retrograde starting on Tuesday. And even though the retrograde starts in Libra for a couple of days, it is going to be back in Virgo by the end of the week, because it is a full Virgo Mercury retrograde. And of course, as the Sun is still in opposition with Neptune and squared with Saturn and Mars, this creates a T-square. It's a very big challenge, and the Mercury retrograde is not going to make the challenge any easier for you guys, unfortunately. We're talking a few communication breakdowns and a little bit of narcissistic communication breakdowns that are definitely going to make this challenge where you feel like you are definitely torn between what it is that you want to do in your job and your responsibilities at home. It all seems to come back to you, and it really feels like you are the one that can't seem to handle all of this responsibility. Or maybe you are taking it that way. This frustration, of course, is going to be heightened, but the truth is your reaction to the BS that's going on around you is really going to make or break you this week. If you are going to react emotionally to everything that's going on, chances are you are, one, going to lose control, and two, probably not make it through. You're going to be really, really frustrated by the end of the week. Instead, Be open to the fact that there's a Mercury retrograde going on. Be open to the fact that the challenge is there. And mind your reaction to all of the craziness that's going on around you. You don't have to be offended every single time something doesn't go your way. And this is really what it comes down to. Not saying that you Virgos do that or are known for doing that. Everybody is known for doing that. Everybody reacts emotionally. And this is what a Mercury retrograde is really trying to tell us, especially a Virgo one. If you're going to get offended by everything that goes on around you, you're wasting time. Flip that around. Deal with the issues as and when they come. Keep your Virgo mind focused on the big picture, not the little crap that's going on. And I guarantee you, you're going to get through the craziness of this week and the Mercury retrograde pretty much unscathed. So you guys have a great week with that. Libra, when your ruling planet of Venus comes into your sign this week, love is in the air. And of course, that is always a beautiful thing for Libras. We're not just talking any kind of love either. We're talking about love and support, or feeling the love and support that you have from others, or the people that matter the most to you. And of course, as Venus moves into sextile position with Saturn and with Mars, it's really going to show you, first and foremost, how much you are responsible for all of this love that you have around you. And on top of that, this love is really the fuel and puts the fire in your belly to succeed and transform yourself to be able to succeed, which of course, all success needs that to happen before you can be successful. Now, this support is there to help you understand your responsibilities to yourself, to your responsibilities, of course, to your frustrations and to your own emotions, but really, it's all about the responsibilities that you have to yourself to make it in doing what it is that you love. This is really the bottom line. As Venus comes in focused first on the career and then focused on that support that you have for that career. So this month is really a chance for you to really look at doing what you love and really seeing the mass amounts of support that you have around you. And it's not that the support just started. You really have to be open to the support that you have and really have to be able to identify just how supportive these people are, even if they're not showing it in a traditional way. So this week, it's all time for you guys to shine, and it's getting real close to Libra time as it is, because of course the sun's going to be in Libra later on in September. But you got a kickstart and a quick start now before that happens to really start this process rolling and do something in order to make the change that you need to make in your life. So you guys, be bold and be brave and have a great week with that. Scorpio, the dark moon is coming into your sign or spending some time in your sign this week, really having you reflecting on some very difficult, very dark parts of your life. Now, when you're talking about drudging up old history, that's not an easy thing for anybody to do. It certainly isn't easy for Scorpios, but it's not easy for anybody really to do. But the dark moon is really helping you drudge this stuff up. And the reason why the dark moon is helping you drudge this stuff up is because this old stuff it needs to come up. You need to take a look at it. Now, a lot of times when we're talking about things that involve the inner child, and the inner child, let's say something happened to you as a child and it really bothered you and it really made you feel insecure later on as an adult. And these insecurities are brought on by, say, maybe an adult came up to you and said, you're not good enough and you're not smart and you're ugly and all of these different things. Now, you're going to keep those thoughts in your mind somewhere. Those are going to become your own inner voice. And so every time you do try and go and do something, you don't, because you automatically assume that you're not smart. Drudging up this thing that happened in the past that rooted in this issue is actually helpful for you, because for one of two things. Now, first of all, you get to take yourself out of it and look at it for what it is. That person has a problem, obviously. No adult would say that to a child if they didn't have a problem. So one, you can identify and look at that as, this person has a problem. It wasn't necessarily directed at me, even though I was there, unfortunately, and I had to deal with it. Then the second part of that is really to be able to reverse that. tell yourself and retrain that little voice in your brain to say, you know what, I am good enough, I am beautiful, I am intelligent, I can go after this. Now trust me, a lot of people will say that this is silly and it doesn't work, but you're listening right now to somebody who has dealt with mental, physical, emotional, sexual abuse in her life and was able to overcome all of that, and I'm still working to overcome all of that in order to keep moving forward and keep building my empire, and you can do the same. So this week, it's time to really be brave. Don't be afraid of the scariest and darkest parts of yourself, because they belong to you. And those parts are some of the most important parts that made up the person that you are. So you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, Saturn and Mars are still in T-square with the Sun and Neptune this week. Still a big challenge, and of course with the Mercury retrograde starting, even though it's not a part of this particular aspect, it's still going to make things difficult because Mercury retrogrades cause communication breakdowns all the time. It's just, they're classic for it. That's what Mercury retrograde does. But this week it's really going to be difficult because the challenge really is, here's something that I'm thinking of doing that I want to do, but I have these responsibilities over here and I can't seem, I'm torn between my responsibilities to these people and of course my dreams and what it is that I want to do, being able to shine being me. Now the good news is that Saturn and Mars sextile with Venus this week is showing you, one, that you have the support that you need in order to shine in the way that you want to, and two, is really, really, really important. This aspect is so important because it is pointing you in the direction of your heart's desire. And not only is it pointing you in that direction, it's also reminding you that you have a responsibility to your heart's desire. So when you're looking at the situation and saying, well, I'm torn and I can't do this because I have all these other responsibilities. Again, this is an excuse. This has been coming up in a lot of Sagittarius horoscopes, by the way, is using these things as an excuse. The truth is, and I've seen a lot of Sagittarians do this recently, and I've talked with a lot of Sagittarians who have done this and overcome this. The truth is, you own your schedule. You can make sure that you have plenty of time for those that you're responsible for and yourself and your dreams, because you, like I said, you own that schedule. It doesn't matter if everybody else's schedule seems to be crazy and hectic. You take care of what you need to take care of and stop taking on responsibilities that do not belong to you. That's the biggest thing right there, because you're using those as an excuse too. You need to focus on your heart's desire this week, and that really is what it's all about. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, Pluto's aspects with Neptune and the Sun this week are really helping you out because they're both pointing to the directions of home and career in very positive ways, by the way, not in negative ways. But it still makes you kind of feel like you're torn between your responsibilities at home and your responsibilities in your career. When one of these aspects of your life isn't running right, it tends to roll over into the other into the other one because they're very important parts of your life. But when both seem to not be running all that smoothly, then it creates a big problem because it seems like everything in your life is just not running right. Well, this week is time to change that perception a little bit. Pluto's placement is very much in the past, and its focus is very much in the past. And that focus in the past is trying to tell you that this is a situation that has happened before. It's not new news, it's old news, really. And it's showing you how much your reaction is really what's going to make the outcome of this situation. So for instance, in the past, there may have been different players in this situation. There probably were different players in this situation. And your ability to handle it was really what made or break the situation. This week, it's trying to tell you, not that you didn't react to it in the right way last time, but that if you just change the way that you react to it this time, you might change the whole situation in it completely. I mean, just like magic, just boom, great big giant change in this situation. And all it takes is a little itty bitty change. And that's what it comes down to. So this week, not only are you looking at these particular aspects of your life and seeing the good in them, and in some cases seeing the challenges in them, but you're also really underlying the importance of both of these aspects of your life, while at the same time putting them in their proper place and remembering that these are not the only aspects of your life. You are just as important as those things too. So you guys have a great week with that. Aquarius, this week is a chance for you guys to take a little bit of a mini vacation, if you know what I mean. Although, to be honest with you, Aquarians are not very good at taking a full-on vacation. The mind is still going 1,000 miles a minute, and of course, you know, when you don't have anything to do, it's very, very boring for an Aquarian. It's like death to an Aquarian not having anything to do, because that boredom is just like, it's a killer for an Aquarian. We got to at least have something to think about. But at the same time, this week really is a chance to take a break from that, scale it down a little bit, and take a vacation. Not just a physical vacation, but a vacation for the mind. Now, when you take this time, take a little bit of a break, you give yourself, the mind, body, and spirit, a chance to really just slow everything down. And an Aquarian, more than anybody, needs this slow down process, because most of the time, we'll probably look at what happened last week, your brain was going in about 1,000 different directions at once, and you're trying to get all of these different plans and goals together. But the truth is that the more you think about it, the more lost you get, the more unorganized everything gets, and then of course you're sitting there right where you started, having no clue how to do anything. That's why this week's break is so important to you guys. Give yourself the chance to to take some time to not focus on anything. No brilliant ideas, no plans. You know, if something comes up that's not on your schedule already, say no, I'm sorry, and reschedule it to the following week. Number one, you need this break. Your body needs this break. Your brain needs this break. And your soul needs this break. And once you take this break, guaranteed when you come back the following week, you'll have a better focus. Your mind is going to be a little bit clear. Things are going to run a lot more smoothly, and you'll definitely be more successful. So you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. Neptune is still in that T-squared position with the Sun, Saturn, and Mars this week. It's a very difficult aspect, and of course, with the Mercury retrograde coming up, it's only going to make it more difficult. This particular aspect makes it kind of sort of seem like everything that's going on at home in a negative way, everything that's going on in your career in a negative way, it's all coming back to you. And it really is all your fault. Or is it really? Now, whether you have people actually saying this is your fault, or whether you're taking on that it's my fault responsibility on your own, remains to be said. But most of the time, it's us taking it on as our own. It's what's going on in your inner mind, or your inner voice is telling you this is all your fault. You're not doing enough. You're not putting enough time and energy into it. And it starts to feel like the more time and energy you do put into it, the more garbled and weird and just unorganized it gets. And it gets really, really frustrating. Well, the good news is that Neptune still is in that aspect with Pluto, which is showing you exactly where these thoughts are coming from, these negative thoughts are coming from, showing you the roots to where this sort of self-destructive internal communication is coming from. And during a Mercury retrograde, this is gold, let me tell you, because Mercury retrogrades do not come to us because they want to screw everything up. Mercury retrogrades happen to us in order to show us where we need to fix our communication. And internal communication is just as important as external communication. In fact, it's more important, because your internal communication rules what comes out of your mouth when you think about it. So this week, pay attention to how it is that you're communicating on an internal level and an external level. This gives you the opportunity to be able to take a little bit of an inventory of that communication and know where your communication is actually holding you back from what it is that you want to do. And the truth is, you deserve to have whatever it is that you want. But if you don't think, and your internal communication is saying, I don't deserve this, then you know what? You're never going to get it. And you want to make sure that you put yourself in a position to be able to succeed. So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic, and you know what today is? I should say today, it's actually this week, is the anniversary of the Heavy Metal Psychic horoscopes on YouTube. We are now finishing up our second year and entering into our third year of video horoscopes, which is amazing. I didn't even know we were going to make it this long. And you know, the truth is, it's you guys that come back and watch these horoscopes every single week for the past 2 years that are really making them happen. And the way that they're growing is just absolutely amazing. So thank you all so very much for being there and for being such a huge part of the Heavy Metal Psychic horoscopes, because I'm telling you, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't still be doing this. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching the horoscopes for the past 2 years, and have a great week. I'll see you guys next week.